Shalom, Saints, and welcome back to Wakefulness Theology. My name is Messenger Paula, and today we're talking about, once more, as usual, Yahushua's holy numbers, shapes, and symbols. And this video is particularly leading up to the martyrs, and this is part 21. I think I will do one more video unless Ruach Ha Kodesh comes and, tells me something else. I feel like I have one more video left in this series, and so it will be a 22-part series, which, if I can finish next week. We know how special the number 21 and 22 is. 21 is, of course, David, who is over Israel. And 22 is the Hebrew alphabet. It's also symbolic for the seal, those who have the name of Yahuwah on their forehead, and we know Yahuwah symbolically is pi, and so in Hebrew there are 22 letters in pi, so that would make sense, right? And so this has just been a blessed, miraculous, wonderful playlist. I've never had this experience before, being able to share these messages with you guys and being able to work together, Sister Ashley, Sister Tamika, Sister Polly, and everyone else who has added to this understanding and been helping me put these pieces together. Again, I just want to give you a big thank you. All praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Father. May this be in your name, for your glory, and for your honor. All right, Saints, let's get to it. I just want to review really quickly. In the past few videos, we decoded Sister Tamika's Hebrew message that was miraculous. And I just want to remind you that the total sum of her message was 119, or when you read it in Hebrew, which is right to left, it's 911. And we went over that extensively. Also, I just want to remind you that as well, Sister Ashley's message, the total sum of her message was also 911. There was some talk on the Facebook group about 313, and I just wanted to remind everyone that 313 was confirmed on Sister Ashley's screenshot here with Ecclesiastes 3:1, and we went through that. 313, what that means, it means that this is the season. I have more understanding of it, but I can't go over it right now. But I believe as we go through the material for today, 313 is going to come up again, meaning seasons, and hopefully I can try to explain better as we go through. So the best attack for today is to go back to the Holy Letter Line 4, and that's on my website, Wakefulness Theology. You just go to the Holy Living Letter Line. So we've talked about this before. I'm going to use it to kind of refresh your memory and continue. So the number 4 letter line, you don't find it burdensome to produce fruit, which are the results of spiritual work and enterprise or endeavor. Clothing materials, meaning that you are supplied with the things that supply or nourish your spirit that has come from above and is in the heart of those who speak the word, not merely in sound or embodied. You help supply those clothing materials to the people that are appointed to do the same for mankind. Let me clarify. Clothing is Ruach Ha Kodesh. That's the Holy Spirit. The clothing materials is like the spiritual nourishment, the food, the things that you need to supply your spirit to nourish and to grow. Those are clothing materials to make your clothes. Does that make sense? All right. So we talked about that before. If you want more information on my website, what I do, when you see it's in blue like this, you click on it and it's going to take you to the thing it's talking about. So for example, if I click here, it directly took me to the video that we're talking about. So let's continue. In our study, we've been working with the Holy Letter 4 since the beginning of my ministry. And I learned, so when you go back and you look at my old videos, you learn the same time I learned, because I didn't know then what I know now. So since we were talking about letter 4, a year and a half ago, we've understood that it represents the cross, and that's because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 intersections in this formation here. It represents the harvest workers, and so these are the people that are going to be working after the water event. It also represents the door. You see the door, D as in door, meaning dalet. This is the symbol, and that's the numerical quantity for D. This is in Hebrew. So door literally represents the 4 literally represents the door. And again, if we click here on the link, we see the Bible verse, and after this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. Now let's continue reading the verse. And the first voice which I heard was as it were a trumpet talking to me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must come hereafter. So this is what I've understood this week, the second part of this verse. The door, what it means is that Yahushua, holy Yahushua, will be showing us the things that will come after, in the future. And that is what's happening now. That's what I have been doing in this playlist recently with the timeline in Revelation 11 and Revelation 12. That's exactly what that is. That's him opening the door of understanding so that he is telling us what is going to come after. That's exactly what's happening when you turn this key, the 6 and the 9. Do you see what I mean? It's right there in the verse with 4, which is the door. So we've talked extensively about the water event and how some people will go home in that event and the rest of us will stay. Now, please understand that each verse number is speaking directly to the people represented by that holy number. These codes can be understood throughout the holy text. So in the past videos, I, in detail, went through and explained the different codes for the different groups of people. So in here, what I did was an example. I used Revelation 22 as an example because of the 2022. Because I had the dream, I had the voice that said in 4.5 years, 4.5 years, it falls between 2021 and 2022. And because we're going April to April, you know, it's not the same as Gregorian calendar. If you remember how I broke that down before, this is the same thing. So if you go to Revelation 22:11, you click here, you'll have the Bible verse. Pretty much the 11 in this sense is code for the leaders. He that is just, let him be just still. He that is filthy, let him be filthy still. He that is righteous, let him be righteous still. He that is holy, let him be holy still. So what I'm saying here is that this is a message for the leaders that we call and assemble those who are called. That's what the leaders do. The prophets, they warn of rewards and punishment. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give with every man according as his work shall be. So that's what the prophets do. They're saying, you know, look, make the way for Yahushua. He's coming back, you know. Revelation 22:13 is for the witnesses, and that's to witness to his glory. I'm not going to go through every verse because it's here on my website. You guys can click and go through that. Anyway, it's better that you do it yourself. 22:14 is talking about the 144,000. That's because they're clean and they have the right to the tree of life. 22:15, now this is for the 011. These are the people who have the mark of the beast. And 22:16, it's code meaning the result of what happens next or the transition. So quickly, let's look at that. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright and morning star. Here, again, it's 16, one of those holy letters. 16 represents wisdom, right? This is coming from the code 69 on my website. So right here, this is the result. Jesus sending his angel to testify to the churches is the result of all of this. All right, so this kind of code you can find everywhere in the holy text as long as you know what you're looking for and as long as you can read the spiritual language. If you are not spiritually illiterate, you should be able to see it. So hopefully you guys remember all of that. That was review. Last week we talked about the 511s and how in 2025, between 2023 and 2025, we will become the 51111s. And so here I wrote it a little bit better. This is this is on my website, so you can come here and see it, you know, closer for yourself. It was in the video, but here maybe you can read it better. And 511, you do a search on my website, you'll see it if it's too small. And remember, we used Sister Ashley's screenshot here because the time was 5:11. And here we went through the code. And then here I explained how in between 2023 by 2025 we will become the 153 triangle of true spiritual Israel, and we will become the 51111. So all of this 11 11 10 11 11 11 etc., all the way down to 14 is the 153 true spiritual Israel, which is here on her screenshot. 51111. 51111. It's even on her screenshot. 51111. 51111. It's right here. And we're under David, 21. And this is 9:11. And this is where we are now. And this is where we will be at that time. So here is, I put the timeline so you can come and see for yourself that when I put down all the points, all this time, I've just been sharing with you the messages that I've gotten from Ruach Ha Kodesh. I proved it to you the best way I could. I took you step by step, and you saw me learn as I went through. Like, how in the world would I know at the beginning of this playlist that everything would wrap up together? All these little pieces make this big puzzle. How would I know that? It's impossible. If you go through these videos with me, you will see it unfold. And so all I did was put the information here. Everything lines up, and as you can see, it falls 9/11 right here, this time frame, and this is when we will be the 11/11 spiritual mature Israel. And that's what Revelation 11:11 means. It's when we stand up and we're like, we're mad and we're not taking it anymore. Again, last week I showed you guys this, how you have 11:11 with the two olive trees and the two candlesticks, or it could also be 2 plus 2 would be 22, or 11:11. And again, once more, this is symbolically showing the 153 true spiritual Israel. We could also think of it as the 4 groups, because I told you after the water event we will be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I put here. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. And we know that 4 equals the door, or the groups, right? And we know the code for that event that's going to be happening is either 116, 611, or 911. It's all talking about the same situations. So here I've gone over this extensively, but it's here again just to quickly review. There's the timeline in John 21, which I will come back to at some point, but you just click here and you'll have the video. Here we talked about the timelines 11 to 12. You click here, you have the video. The Sister Tamika's Hebrew message, you click here and you'll have the video. And all of that, these videos that I've done, all of them confirm the fact that 2025 is when the body of Christ will be formed on earth, and we will be ready to walk and move and go into action as a body. I mean, just imagine how that is. You have a finger, you have a head, you have a toe, and all of us are in unison doing what we are supposed to be doing to make things God's will happen on earth. That's what's supposed to be going on in 2025. And in order to get us there, there has to be an event, because a lot of us are still sleeping. Some of us are still sleeping. We're not taking this seriously. Not really. Not really. You think you are, but not. You're not there yet. Whatever is going to be happening between now and then is going to push us to be ready and to get it. So the appearance of the door can happen anytime between 2025 and 2040, and that we had the confirmation from Netflix, the TV show. You click here and you'll have the video. And this is the time of the gathering of the harvest, the body of Christ on earth. All right, so this is starting to get into the new material for today. I really want to finish decoding this dream that Sister Ashley had with the door. If you guys don't remember the dream, you just go back to the old videos. It's in this playlist. So before I get into her dream, I want to explain to you about the key. So the next picture here is, it says, now we have the key to the door. And this is a picture of my key. And just so you know, I ain't lying. It's not like a picture from internet and it's like, it's a picture from internet and I just copied and pasted it. No, it's my actual key. Right? This key that I have is prophetic. It was told to me in advance that I would have this key. In 2004 is when I woke up, as far as all of the conspiracy, Illuminati, how evil the world is, how this is actually Satan's world, and you know, everything, pretty much everything is evil. When I say that, I hope you guys know what I mean. Of course, there's good and there's holy and evil, there's good and bad. But as far as who is controlling this society, this world, it's Satan, it's evil. And it really freaked me out. I was like, ah! I mean, it was really hard, really hard. I really freaked out. That was crazy. And so about that time, I started having prophetic dreams. Like, I've had them all my life. I've had premonitions, I've had visions, I've had warnings, like oral warnings before about death and things happening when I was a child. And I'm sure I had prophetic dreams. I just wasn't aware of seeing them come true. You know, I wasn't able to discern the dreams. But in 2001, the World Trade Center 9/11, when that happened, I had a prophetic dream, a very powerful one that did come true. And I dreamed of the planes going into the buildings the night that it happened. Right before I woke up, I was having this horrible nightmare about it happening. That for me is when it really started. That's when I can say, okay, I really understood that these were prophetic dreams, and I started to be able to decode them little bit by little bit. So in 2004, when I freaked out about the whole, Satan runs this planet and everything is evil thing, from that time I had a series of dreams, apocalyptic dreams. They came true. At first I didn't know if it was about the world, or if it was me personally, my life. So it turns out it was about my life. It was a personal apocalyptic event. So what happened was my grandmother and my Aunt Pat, they died in 2009. So my grandma died in January 2009 and my Aunt Pat died in April 2009. But they were my parents. Both of my parents are living, my mom and my dad are living, but these two women raised me primarily. They are the ones who raised me. So to have both of your parents die, within a few months of each other in the same year, this was apocalyptic to me. And I had dreamed about this event. I dreamed about it in 2004. It didn't happen until 2009, but I didn't know what it meant. So I was freaking out thinking it was going to be the end of the whole world. It was the end of my world, but I thought it would be the end of the whole world. So I was really flipping out in those years, 2004 to 2009, and I just had to slowly watch my dream come true. Every year that passed, another piece of the dream would come true, and I just knew that this horrible thing was going to arrive. And I remember right before they died, I was just like, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I didn't know if it was a bomb or what, because remember back in those times, we were more sensitive because 9/11 really traumatized us. So we didn't know any time we could have a nuclear bomb or an invasion or whatever. Remember, we were in the wars. I'm not saying it's better now, but I'm saying back then it was really fresh. So I was just freaking out like, it's coming. I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to tell you the end of my dream where this comes into play. The end of this particular prophetic dream that announced the death coming of my parents. The end of the dream was that I was a teacher in a classroom. I had to go get books. I went to get the books. I came back to the classroom. There's a room. One side of the room is divided by a wall. One side of the room had Armageddon going on. It was just like dark. It had like red, green, blue, like lights of war, like. And then there was like this beast sound like the devil's in there, and it was smoke and brimstone, looking like smoke and brimstone. It was just horrible. You didn't want to go in this room. And there was a statue at the front of the entrance. And I'm going to show you what it turned out to be. So I want to tell you guys, this is very hard for me, but I just want to show you to what extent I'm going through to help people understand, okay? This is my grandma's urn, and it's hard for me to even hold it in my hand like this. Her ashes are in here. And you see this statue? That is like what was at the opening of this, this terrible place. It was a statue that looked like this. And can you see that it kind of looks like salt, the material of it? That's what I saw. That's what I saw. It was a statue very much like that, and it looked like it was in salt or something. Now, fast forwarding, when my grandma actually passed and we were in the funeral home talking about cremation, and it's my aunt who picked out that urn. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh no, that's what it was. It wasn't me that picked it out. And so as soon as she picked that out, then I understood, oh, that's what that statue was, okay? So we're in front of this, it's one room, it's split in half by a wall. One is like hell with this, my grandma's, what I didn't know, but this statue there in front of it looking like it's made of salt. And then the other side is the classroom. So with the chalkboard and everything. So I was there. There weren't any students in the room. Before I left to get my books, I was writing on the chalkboard and I guess preparing the class. I don't know. So I came back, had my books. And of course, I went through the classroom. I didn't want to go through the hell part. And I went to the back of the room, and there was a door. I opened the door. I wasn't alone. I was with my friend. We went out. It was dark. I remember seeing the moon in the sky, the river, the trees. There were 2 ducks in the river. It was very peaceful. It was nighttime. And then I turned and I saw, how the room was split. So the other side of the room also had a back door. And so the back door was there, and it was doing like this. If this is the door, it was like shaking, and it was like, And then underneath the door, you could see the smoke and the red and the green and the lights. And it was just like hell in there, all hell breaking loose, right? And I'm outside in the peaceful, it's nighttime, but it's peaceful. And on this door was a lock, you know, a lock like this. And all you have to do is and close the door, right? And so it was like that, but it was open. And this little lock was the only thing keeping the door from like, you know, just bursting open. And I said, in my mind, I was thinking that I was going to go back in there. And then I was like, why? I'm not going to go back in there. Why would I go back in there? That's crazy. You know, I'm not going in there. And then I went to, my mind was like, I'm going to close the lock, but I don't know if I locked the door or not. I woke up and it was like, I don't know if I closed the door. I don't know if I went in the door. I don't know what happened. That was the end of the dream. And when I woke up, I was like, why would I go in there? Why would I, you know, why wouldn't I lock the door? You know, what's going on? And so that's what happened. And of course, my grandma, my Aunt Pat, passed away years later. The dream had come true. The part about my grandma dying had come true. And I don't remember how much time after that, but it was at some times after that. And I was with my friend. We left home, shut the door. We went downstairs. I had a dog. He passed away in December. We were walking the dog and I saw it because you know, I live in Paris, France. We were walking along the quai, which is the river Seine, the Seine River. And I was like, this is my dream. This is it. It was nighttime. I was by the river. I saw the two ducks. There's trees lining up along the river. I was like, man, this is my dream. Wow. You know? And I was like, wow. And then I was trying to remember, well, what happens next in the dream? And then I remembered it has something to do with locking the door, right? I knew that had something to do with locking the door and going back to what I assumed was America. I assumed the hell on the other side of the door represented personally my life, all the hell breaking loose in my life because I lost my parents. And the question was, am I going to go back to what I assumed was America? Now, just so you know, at that very moment, I had gotten an invitation to perform in Canada. And I told you guys, I already told you I'm a musician. So I was like, should I accept the invitation to perform in Canada? And then when I saw the ducks and my dream come true, I was afraid to go to America. I was afraid like, oh, this is some kind of warning to not go. You know, I don't know. I didn't know if I should go or shouldn't go, but because it was the end of my dream, I wasn't feeling Canada. I was like, ixnay on the Canada K. I was not having it. So I was like, no, I'm not going to Canada. I do not want to go back in that room, you know. Got home. Do you guys know that I lost my key? I lost my key. We were locked out of my apartment at 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that because it was late in the morning. We used to walk the dog late so we could sleep in. Can you believe it? Lost my key. We had to, because it was real early in the morning, the locksmith wouldn't come until 8 o'clock in the morning. So we had to sleep outside on the doormat and wait for him to come. It cost like 800 euros because if you look at my key, it's not like a little whimsy key. This is like a serious lock. Right? 800 euros to get a new key and to get the thing fixed. So that was a big deal. So after that, I realized, oh, did I lock the door? I did lock the door and lost the key, right? So what I'm saying is, I know that was a long-winded story, but just so you guys know that this wasn't just a key. This key is connected to many prophetic dreams that I had watched come true over the years, which involved the death of my parents, okay? This isn't just any key. So this is the key that I got after that event. Are you with me? Woo, Lord. Now, as the years went on, at one point I got curious and I looked it up quickly. And then I think at another point I talked about it in one of the videos, so I did go into more detail, but I didn't know then what I know now. So let's look at this again. All right, so let's just quickly break this down. Queso, I looked it up quickly. You guys can do it the same as I did, maybe even better. So queso, it means cottage cheese. Somebody can look up cheese or cottage cheese in the Bible, what that symbolically means, but I looked it up in the Dream Bible, and it means gains or profit. It reflects situations where you have benefit from something or you have more than you did before. It also represents interest in making something profitable later on. It may be a sign that you're experiencing financial gain, good luck, benefit from an investment, or it may also point to hard work that paid off. Now, all of that was true in 2009. I don't know if this happened in 2010. I think probably happened in 2010. It was after they passed away. I had a song that I signed with a major label, and I did make money from that song. So after they passed is when my career started going up. So that is true. Kesso is true. It's also the time after they passed is when I started going towards the ministry. And I told you before, in 2014 is when, you know, I got the book cipher and everything happened. So this is true. It happened. Benefit, gain, financial gain, good luck, and benefiting from not only spiritual work, but actual career. It did pay off at that time, from the time I got that key. So that happened. 2000, we've talked about that extensively because we said that the year 2000 is when the holy letters, they grow. And then from the 2000 point, they go the other direction and they shrink, and there's no new information. They repeat the same information that we saw before. And that's what we said. That's why the year 2000 is like the marker for the end times, because there's no new information mathematically from that point. So that's important year right here. And then I told you that's when I started having those prophetic dreams that I understood were prophetic, and I started understanding how to decode them in 2001. So from that point, if you look up S, just, you know, with the alphabet, this is math. You look up S and it's the 19th letter. S right here is the 19th letter. Do you guys remember 19? It means wrath or escaping wrath. And I told you about my dream, how it was like all hell breaking loose on the one side and I was outside in like a peaceful place. So it could be wrath or it could be escaping wrath. Also, S, depending on how you count, the way that I count is I go to 9 and then I start again. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I would be 9. J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, again 9. S. So S would technically be 1 in the way that I decode the names and so forth. So this could be 19 or it could be 1. Now we have 2 deltas here. Now we understand that those are deltas right here. Delta, 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 delta. Two deltas. So we have the S and we have 2 deltas. Now it looks like it's upside down here, but I guess it depends on, since it's a key, when you put the key in there, if you're looking at it from here, here's the key. This is how you hold the key. You hold the key like this, right? When you hold the key properly, the deltas are no longer upside down. They're right side up. Do you see what I mean? And if you read from right to left like you do in Hebrew, everything else stays, it says the same thing. It still says 2000, it still says Kesso, right? So the deltas are not upside down. This is the right way that they should be. And so if the delta is 4, so that could be 4-4, which we know is Yahushua, or this could be 1, if you count the way I count, 1-4-4, which is 144. Or it could be 19 and 2 deltas, which we know that 19 is one of the codes for turning the key, because when you turn the key, it's going to go 1916, 1916. It's going to turn 1916. It's turning the key. Do you see what I mean? So either way you want to decode that, it works. This came true. This is truth right here on this key. This was true. On the other side, we have GB. Now G right here is 7 and B is 2, so that's 72. So here is letter line 72. I didn't publish it on my website yet because I learn every day, and now I have learned better the key code that's in the book that I use to decode these things, these letter lines. I have now understood better how to do it. So now I have to go back again to the dictionary that I'm writing and pretty much rewrite the dictionary. So that means I'm going line by line. You see each word: payment, laxness, odorlessness. I have to define those words. Those words are in the dictionary I'm writing. So each piece of this has a piece, which has a piece, which has a piece. It's like moving parts that I'm assembling together. It's the biggest job I've ever done in my life. This is a huge thing. Now I'm realizing that my definitions for each word, even though some of them are right, some of them are wrong, but now I know how to do them better. So I have to do that work. So for example, 72, I haven't had the chance to go back and to make sure that payment is the right definition and laxness is the right definition and so forth. So I'm not publishing letter lines anymore. Now that I understand this, I'm not publishing anything that I haven't had the chance to go back and verify these definitions. So as I go through, I'll be going back to the website, taking down letter lines and putting up the new ones. It's a whole process that will go on until 2023. But what I'm saying here, I didn't publish this one yet, but this is what I have for the moment. Because in general, if you are spiritually literate, you should be, if you're prophetic, if you're called to the ministry, if you have the fruits of the Holy Spirit, you should be able to have a pretty good idea of what this means by yourself without me explaining it to you, because it's right here. This is on Strong's concordance. 72, a leading, guiding, mode of life, conduct, way of life. Stone of help, also a commemorative stone. I know more about what stone means now than when I wrote it. Odorlessness, payment, laxness, from the pagan city, Apollyon, the sun, a place in Macedonia, a collection of offerings, a store, a supply storehouse. So without me giving you the definition, if you have the fruits of the Spirit, you can get a good idea of what this means by yourself. Now, the definitions that I give you from the hidden code is just making it clearer. So what I have for the moment is you are leading and guiding others to a mode of life where they are unyielding and compromising nothing at all, with strength, permanence, unchanging attitude or unyielding beliefs, with confidence or actions that will stand the test of time by the emission of the members of the all that comes from the one who is, of course, that's Yahuwah. You have redemption from the pagan city Apollyon, but it is difficult to find your supply of provisions or storehouse. So this is what I have for the moment for 72 to give you some idea of what GB could mean. So now GB, the reason it would be in letters and not numbers is because they want you to know that GB is separate. It is not a part, because if you had 72 here, then we would have to add it into 549801, right? So this is a separation of meaning. So whether you want to take what 72 means, or it may be somebody, I'm sure if you look it up, somebody can find a meaning for GB as GB. I don't know, but let's go on. Quickly, Jim. Now, if you looked at the Troll Hunters playlist, you know what Jim means. The main character's name in that cartoon, his name is Jim. Now this is JPM, but we know that P is silent. So pneumonia, we don't pronounce the P. Psychiatrist, we don't pronounce the P. In the English language, the P is silent. So this would read Jim, JM, Jim. And we know that because you have a diamond here, okay? So we are the gems. I said that in the Troll Hunters playlist. We are the gems of Yahushua's ephod. We are his weapon. I also said that we are the ornamentation of the foundation of New Jerusalem. We are those gems. And I went through that in the Troll Hunters series. So that was confirmation for that right here. Gem. Now 549. So I put the letter lines 549. So the way you read it is you group it in threes: 549 and 801. And we do that because of the Trinity when we can. And then you go backwards: 108 and 945. So those are the four groups of holy letters on my key: 549, 801, 108, 945. You with me? And I put those letter lines right here on my website. So let's look at 549. Went, remain, absent, go away, depart, covenant, agreement, record, judgment, go away, depart, a river and mountain near Damascus called Amana, covenant. So actually you go record, go away, and then judgment, a river and a mountain. That's the order. You left something and continue to remain absent from it. This was your covenant agreement with God. You have a covenant agreement with the Father Abba Yahuwah to become a contemplative angel and take note or keep record of the things you see and learn to make them known to your kin, brother, and children and children's children. You take note of your departure and that you will stay away in examination of the differences in people's ability to hear, have power, soul, and the extent of their humanity, in order that you can see, hear, and understand the divine information given to you through the covenant. So like I said, the writing here is going to change, it's going to get better, and it's going to get clearer. But in general, this should give you a general idea of what 549 means. This is on my key. Do you understand that? This is on my key that was prophesied in a prophetic dream about the death of my parents. This is not a small thing. This that I'm doing is my job. This that I'm doing was given to me to do before I was born. Do you understand? This is serious. These letter lines are me recording. It says judgment here. 801 and 108. If you guys remember, and I just want you to know, I'm not doing this to toot my own horn. This is not ego or saying I'm good or anything like that. We all know that the only good here is Yahushua Hamashiach, the Most High Father. That is the only good in existence. So don't take this as that at all. What I'm doing is trying to just sharing with you my story, but also for those who don't believe. I want you to know this is real. This is not in my imagination. This is not my pastime for fun. This is real. I'm showing you hardcore proof evidence. This is real. So look, 801 and 108. We talked about this in another video, and this is like the dove, the Holy Spirit. That's what it means. The alpha equals 1 and the omega equals 800. So the alpha omega together is 801. Do you remember that we did that, 801? And do you remember that I saw the dove on my windowsill when I was doing the video? 801 is the dove, the Alpha and the Omega, Holy Yahushua appearing and confirming his identity as the dove or the pigeon, because we know they're the same kind of animal. They're synonyms. That's what you have here, 801 and 108, right here on my key. Now let's look at it. Guys, this is hard for me because I don't want anyone to think that I'm bragging. I'm not. On that letter line that I just read, the 549, I'm going through a lot of sacrifice to do this work. You don't even know how much sacrifice. I'm putting my life in, this is my life. You don't know. I'm doing this so that you guys are taking this seriously, because Yahushua told me I had to continue doing this, and if I didn't continue doing this, I would be guilty. This is life and death situations that we're dealing with in the future, dealing with now. Please take this seriously. Letter line 801, unintelligent, without wisdom, unwise, discerning, implying probably morally defect, foolish, without understanding, but used as a burnt offering, but occasionally of any sacrifice, an offering made by fire, separation, texture, I put on clothes, get dressed, courage, a brother of support. Before you were without wisdom, foolish, and without understanding. Those who remain unwise will become an offering made by fire. But now you have separated yourself from this to eternal life, which is the complete knowledge of the all and the partakings of all good things. Those whose names come from the original source put on clothes and get dressed. Putting on clothes is symbolic for having the Holy Spirit, Ruach Ha Kodesh. You are an Israelite, part of the remnant, and those who Yahushua called to knowledge to be strong and courageous. Yahushua has said all this to you so that you might shine in light even more brightly. That is the letter line for 801. 801. Now let's look at 108. So I'm showing you that you put these holy letters together, they make a sentence, right? That's what you have to do. You have to put them together to make a sentence. Not all the time, but often. So this is a coast town of Palestine in the sense of enveloping, a fog, a mist, a vapor, discontent, unregretfulness, flattery, I shed tears, weep, lamentation, victory, Benjamite, of Benjamin, a descendant of Benjamin. So you are in a coastal town, or in a place that is spiritually like Herod's kingdom, where you are enveloped in discontent. Your discontentment with the place where you are stems from the moment you were thinking about this. You looked, the heavens opened, all creation under heaven lit up, and the world shook. So this is like the Revelation 4 verse, where it says you looked, and then, so this is like Revelation 4. You looked, and behold, a door was open in heaven, and the talking was like a trumpet. It's the same thing right here. You looked, and the heavens opened, and then the world shook. So if I talk to you like a trumpet, I think it's going to, vibrationally shake things. So the world shaking could be literal or figurative or a personal shaking. So it shook. The importance of it was shaking. After experiencing the evils that arise from complete ignorance of all things, and also experiencing the cravings and anxiety that result from these, you might now partake of the greatest good from the true wine, which entails the end of drinking, since it can give joy to the soul and mind through the Spirit of Yahuwah. You are unregretful about receiving revelation and truth from foreknowledge of the perfect mind through the expressed will of the invisible spirit and the will of the self-generated. You are flattered to know that you had existed first in Yahuwah's mind as a light shining in darkness. You shed tears as you lament. You lament knowing that Yahuwah's power, which fills every place, is being used by man to create and birth imperfection, because they are without partnership with the gospel. You, a descendant of Benjamin, or working with Benjamites, I'm from Judah, so are victorious as you are fighting the good fight and prevailing in the contest of life, which brings joy to the holy and grief to the enemies. So I put that 108 is also code for the Holy Spirit, or Yahushua as the dove. So it's true, I am working with a sister. Corinne is from the tribe of Benjamin, and she is helping me, or she will be helping me with this what I'm doing, wakefulness theology. So again, this is true. And so the last is 945 here. So let's look at that. I chatter, am long-winded. I'm long-winded, I know, I'm so sorry. Reign, 8th month, judgment, adult or old, a step, flight of steps, endeavor, oh, that God would. So you are long-winded about how it will rain, possibly in the 8th month, which is October, November of the Hebrew calendar. I don't know about the October, November part. I put it there because that's what it says, rain 8th month. But I know I've been going on for the past year and a half about this water event. Rain means, and it's rain, it says rain, and I'm talking about the water event. Isn't that crazy? Wow. Rain means that there will be sadness, disappointment, difficulties, or depression. It may also reflect despair or feelings about some area of your life being ruined, as happiness is rained on, grieving, or feeling that bad times are ahead and that the future will not be very bright. Well, that is true. You become a spiritually mature adult person as you take steps up, slowly working towards a goal. You say, "Tell us, Master, what existed before heaven and earth came into being?" There is a period of time where you are wishful that Yahuwah would do something. So this is what I have for the moment for the definition for 945. All of that to say, and all of that is true. Everything that I just read from the key is true. So what I'm saying is that this is a representation. This is confirmation that what I'm doing here and what I'm telling you is true. And it's from Yahushua. He sent me to do this. He told me to do this work. I'm doing this work. Okay. I'm telling you that the key is the 6 and the 9. You turn the key, the 6 and the 9, which is to receive this information and of understanding what is coming next. And that is being sealed. In order to be able to do this, in order for you to be able to understand this, you have to be sealed. That is you being sealed. This record that I'm recording is wakefulness theology. It is the holy letters. It is the letter lines. That's what it is. Why does this work? It's because Yahuwah is represented as pi, and that's from Exodus 3:1-4. You click here, you'll have the verse. And what it means is that it's the verse where it says he's the Alpha and the Omega. It means that everything, everywhere in heaven as on earth is made up of the Most High Father. That's why we can read it. When you know the code, you can read it just like a computer program, but it's natural. It's the real one, not the fake one. This book of life is everywhere. It is the true program underlining the fake matrix hologram reality. This book was written in us. That's why Sister Polly is talking about know yourself, because it's all the same that's inside of here is all the same that's in the galaxy. It's the same thing. It was published when Yahushua died on the cross, and this is the fact of being able to read the book, which is yourself. This what I'm doing. You see how I broke this down? I can read my name. I can read my phone number. I can read it. I know he done told me what's happening, what's going to happen. The mysteries, he's telling the mysteries. When you have the key and you open that door, he tells you everything. That is being able, that is spiritual, that is being able to read the book, which is you. You are the book. You are the living book. And it was published when he died on Calvary. And this letter 549 confirms it, what I'm just telling you. I know we looked at it already, but let's look at it again. You left something and continue to be absent. I'm in Paris, France. I'm away from my friends and family for a very long time to do this work. I had to do it because apparently this was the covenant, right? This was the agreement to do it. The agreement is to take note and keep record of these things, and to make it known to you so that you will be able to examine yourself, and that you will be able to hear and have power and to know the extent of you, so that you can see and you can hear and you can understand the divine information given through this information. Like I said, I wrote it this way, but now I have better understanding. I can go back and write it better. But this is what we're talking about here. This is confirmation of what I'm saying. It's not my imagination. This is not my pastime. This is life and death. I'm 100% serious. Yahushua Hamashiach, he's serious. This is serious. So here on the website, I'm still on the letter line 4 on my website. You just scroll down and it's giving you, I put the picture so you can see for yourself. Again, we talked about this in past videos. I told you about the book, where this is from, in past videos. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go back and look at the past videos. Here, I just put it to remind you about the 153, and you have the 5 steps. We start with the evil, and we get to the holy through 108, which is the Holy Spirit, and that is what is on my key. We have to go through this. You put it in there, you turn the key. We talked about this. If you click here, it takes you on my website where I explain the turning of the key. Now, we also learned in the past, we were saying the crown of understanding, your weapon and your sword, comes from the spiritual nourishment or food. So this that you will need for Revelation 11:11 comes from this very process. I'm asking you to please go back and watch these videos so that you can see the process, and you can grow and you can learn at the same time to fully understand what I'm telling you right now and what we're preparing you to know next, because every playlist is a stepping stone. So I'm already knowing that's what's coming next about the martyrs is huge. The time of turning this key is now. For the next 4 years, from 2018 to 2022, 2023. It's not exact science because it goes from April to April, and I don't have a day to go from. From the timeline that I put here, and again, I explained, this is Revelation 12. I just put the information I've already received here, and it lines up. So the turning of the key, the 6-9, is from the 6 to the 9, and that encompasses the 18, 19, 20, up until the event that's supposed to happen, you know, sometimes in 2021, between 2021 and 2022, I assume. So it's written here, and I talked about that in the last video. This is just to remind you where we got the message about the crown of understanding is your weapon. If you click here, it will take you to the video that explains this. Now, back to Sister Ashley's dream. This is about the door. If you notice, there's the threshold and then there's the door. And what I've come to understand recently is that we are at the threshold. There's 2 groups of people. There's the people that are at the threshold that prepare the other people to be able to go through the door. The people that are at the threshold are not the people who are going to go through the door. It's kind of like Moses. Moses didn't get to go to the land of milk and honey. he couldn't go past the mountain, right? It's the same here. And this is where we're getting into the martyrs. I'm getting ahead of myself. Whew. So on this picture, you can see number 1 and number 2. This is number 1 and this is number 2. This is number 1 and this is number 2. Number 1 represents when the actual door will open and the people will actually go through, and that could be any time from 25 to 40, but we don't know when. The reason I say that is because Sister Ashley explained, she said that here there was something written, and she told the other people, the other servants who represent Israel, she told them not to look at it. You know, you have to wipe it off to be able to read what it was, and she said don't do it. So I assume that's a time that, you know, we don't know. Number 2 represents who, and that's the 153 spiritual Israel, and I know that because we have 5 lines here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with a bunch of numbers, and that's why we put the digits 1.111, because we said that 1 stands for Yahushua from Daniel 3, and then it shows that we are on the threshold of entering. So right here, number 2, the 5 groups of the bridal army, we are not yet 1111s. Right now we are 511s, right? We're right here and we are on the threshold. Do you understand? And you know the threshold of entering. You understand threshold, the magnitude or intensity that must be exceeded for a certain reaction, phenomenon, result, or condition to occur or to be manifested. That is the threshold. This is where we are. Right here, you see column 2, and then you see 2 and 4 at the very bottom. If you look at Revelation 11:2, it's the same Bible chapter that we've been talking about. It says 4 and 2 months, 11:2. But the court which is without the temple, leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall be tread under foot 42 months. When you read backwards in Hebrew, because you read from right to left, 42 months, 42. And it's just at the time that we are now. When you look at the timeline, I didn't even put it on there. I didn't know. But so this would be 2017. So technically that would have happened in 2016, right before President Trump announced the Jerusalem change. What I want to show you is that the 2 and the 4, the 4 and the 2 is represented on the Google Doodle. It's the hands of the clock, and it is also shown on Sister Ashley's screenshot. So what it's saying, so let me show you. If you remember, we talked about this in the video, and you can see that this is on the 2 and it ends just a little bit after the 4. This is the 2 and the 4, the 42 months. And we talked about before how it was a little bit different from Sister Ashley's screenshot, where they start slightly before us and they finish slightly before us, but we're talking about the same point of time, right? And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go back. You got to watch this playlist from the beginning, at least this playlist from the beginning, if you don't want to go all the way back to Troll Hunters. But you cannot just start with this video. You have to see these points. Holy Yahushua did not put me through this for you to ignore parts of the puzzle. Unless he's giving you the same piece and you understand and you know, then God bless you. That's good. I'm so happy. Thank you. I think the most of us need to see this build up, really. So on this Google Doodle, they also show the water event. And on Sister Ashley's, so the 2 and the 4 from Sister Ashley Dream right here, what it's telling us, what it means is that this 2 and the 4 is the time of darkness that's coming, and it's the time of the Prince of Persia to come. That's what that means. Let's look at Revelation 11:7. Again, it's still Revelation 11, and that's what Yahushua told us to look at, Revelation 11:11, didn't he? That's what this 2 and the 4 is representing. It's all about Revelation 11. And when they have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. That is the 2021 6/11/11/6 event right here. And letter line 652. All right. This is the new message that I got last Friday. I had a dream, and I'm not going to tell you the dream because it's personal dream, but I'll tell you the end of the dream. The end of the dream is that I was walking home and I decided to go down this street, and it was a dark street, and it was turning dark. The more I was walking down the street, it turned dark, and there were boys. The feeling was kind of like The Purge. There were these young boys, and they were playing a game, like they were playing water balloons, or they were throwing stuff at each other and running and chasing each other. But when they saw me, they stopped and they looked at me like, "What are you? Who are you? Why are you here?" They were just perplexed. They didn't throw anything at me because they knew that I didn't belong to the game. That's what I remember. I didn't belong to the game, or I wasn't playing the game. I was just trying to get home, and I had to go through this dark street, and these boys who were playing some game were looking at me like completely amazed. They didn't understand what I was or why I was there. In this dream, it really bothered me. The first part of the dream that I'm not telling you because it's too personal, it really bothered me. I called Sister Tia. And she was, helping me to talk through the dream to understand it. Our conversation led me to look at the name of my friend. So I was wondering what they had in their name for, I don't remember if it was this year or next year. I think it was next year, 2019. Because in my letter lines, it's telling me that I'm going to go through a time like Job. And I think it starts in 2019, at least until 2019 to 2020, if I'm not mistaken, maybe both years. But I'm getting the impression I'm going to be going down a dark street very soon. I wanted more information about this. I looked in my friend's name, and sure enough, for 2019, this is what it says: a messenger, envoy, delegate, one commissioned by another to represent him in some way, especially a man sent out by Yahushua Hamashiach himself to preach the gospel, an apostle, darkness, gloom, unselfishness, rashness, a Christian martyr of Pergamum, relapse, God is his delight. A messenger sent out by Yahushua Hamashiach himself to preach the gospel goes through darkness and gloom because of their unselfishness in the power of the word of all the fullness. The fullness is the Trinity, the five seals, and the invisible power that is the great Christ. Through rashness, you have associated with people of error and will become their prisoner and eventually a Christian martyr, since they are without perception. You relapse, meaning come back into understanding who Yahuwah is and understanding who thinks within you, which is Yahuwah. If Yahuwah is your delight as an Israelite, you will always stay in the state in which you exist. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this person doesn't believe me. They don't think I'm crazy, but they think I'm wasting my time. They just don't get it. And their name, it says like they're dumb like an animal, meaning people who don't understand this. In the holy letters, they call them mute like an animal. An animal like a cow. That's what they say. They don't use the word dumb. They say mute. This person doesn't understand. They don't get it. My mother has the same letter in her name where she just doesn't get it. They just don't get it. At this time, it's talking about, I assume it's talking about me as a messenger because this person doesn't believe at all. So it can't be talking about them. So it seems like they're talking about me going through the darkness. And that's what I just told you guys in my dream. I was going down that dark street. And I believe, if I'm not misunderstanding this, I think this second part is talking about my friend, how this person doesn't believe, I'm a minister, and it's very contentious. And at some point, I think it's going to rupture. And at that point, this person will, in rashness, it will push them closer to these evil people. But in the end, they're going to come back to themselves. And I don't know, I can't tell you, I can only tell you what this says, but if my translation is right, it seems like they're saying this person will become a martyr. The important thing I want to show you is not that. What I want to show you is that that's what brought the martyr to my mind, because the first time I did this line, I thought that it was saying I would be the martyr, which I don't know if I don't know. I'm just giving you guys, I'm just showing you what I have. Okay, I had the dream about me going down the dark street. I know that I'm going to be going through a Job situation probably next year. And then I got this letter line where it's talking about being martyred. Okay, so I was like, oh, right? What does this mean? So that is where I was, and I was thinking, okay, so are you telling me that I'm going to be martyred? That's what I had to go through last Friday. And let me tell you, I can tell you it doesn't feel good. Don't feel so good. We can also see this darkness coming from Matthew 27:45. So if you click here, now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. So that is the 6 and the 9. This is when we are turning the key, and we know that we are turning the key right now, right here, 6 and the 9, turning the key. Revelation 12, April 2018 to April 2021. This action of turning the key and getting this spiritual nourishment is happening right before this event. Do you see what I mean? And that's why in Matthew 20:27, symbolically, that's what it means. From the 6th hour to the 9th hour, there was darkness when Yahushua was dying on that cross and publishing that book, which is us. Are you with me? I'm not making this up. This is real. God is real. If you don't know Yahushua Hamashiach right now, I pray that you get on your knees, stop this video, repent of your sins, ask Him to come into your heart, into your life, and to be your Lord and Savior. Find a saint, find a minister that can baptize you. Start receiving spiritual nourishment so that you can be prepared for what is to come. This is not a joke. I'm not playing. He's not playing. Nobody's playing. This is real. We know that the Prince of Persia, he's going to be dropping his mask about that time. So the Google Doodle from Jonathan Kleck, I'm going to put it here because we talked about it before. But you can see just from this screenshot, you see this book. This is when the book is published. The book falls and the devil comes out. Do you see that? The book falls and the devil comes out. That is exactly what the message is that I told you guys the past couple of videos. Right here. The books are published. The books are finished. 2023. So this is the time that the Prince of Persia is going to be coming out. This is between here and here, the books are published. And between here and here, it's when he's coming. They're connected. And it talks about it right here in this Google Doodle. They show you the water event in this Google Doodle. They also show you the four and the 2 from Sister Ashley's dream. You can see it right here. Right here, the 4 and the 2 that Jonathan Kleck points it out. So what I'm saying is, some people you don't like Jonathan Kleck, but I'm not even talking about Jonathan Kleck the man. We're looking at his manna, his hidden information that he's giving. And when I get the same message directly from Yahushua Hamashiach, Ruach Ha Kodesh, and then I see that he's saying the same thing and having the same messages that I'm getting, then I know that it's true because it's the same message. We all get the same messages at the same time, and we all decode them in the way that God has programmed us to decode them. And we put them together and we can see the full picture. So don't leave me no comments about Jonathan Kleck. I'm not interested in your personal opinion about Jonathan Kleck. I know from my personal experience, which I am always going to take over anybody else got to say. I know from my personal experience that this man is getting the same messages as me. I didn't learn it in a book. I did not get it from the internet. This came from Yahushua Hamashiach. So look at the video. So there you go. And just to remind you, to wrap it up, the TV show, The 3% here, I asked you to look. You click here, you'll have the video. To remind you, you have the D, and you have the dove, and you have the 25 to 40. That's how we know that's the time of the harvest. That was confirmed. Remember, the D is 4, the D is the door, and the D is also delta, which is transformation from where we are now into the 11:11s, the 5:11:11s. Remember that. And it starts in the 25. Remember that you have the dove, the confirmation, and we talked about that, and the 108 and the 801. Raphael. We're gonna, on my last video, I'll probably be talking about healing with the archangel Raphael, and he represents symbolically the leaders. He represents the spies and the prophets, right? The prophets that are spies. And it says right here, the time is almost done, Raphael. So we're on the threshold, okay? The work that I have to do, this work will be done in 2023. And then there's something, we know that the water event is happening around that time, but there is going to be another event after that around, I don't know, I don't have the time, but from what I understand, probably 30, between 30 and 32 or something like that, 2030, 2032. So there will be more of us leaving progressively as we go, as we move on. And I was just saying that this message that we got right here, to remind you, it matches this message, we don't have all time, and that's the 531. And that's what kicked off this whole playlist. This whole playlist got kicked off because of the 531 right here that Sister Ashley saw. And when you go and you look at 531, unavoidable, unchangeable, permanently, courageous, strong, alert, ungrammaticalness, depth, free from anxiety, student, a possessor, a man of Judah. You are permanently courageous, alert, and strong. This is unchangeable. You are being shown something and empowered. You are being blessed to know God, Yahuwah, and to be freed from anxiety or care. Like a student, you are getting supplemental knowledge from the Holy Spirit where you lack it, facilitated by an Israelite of the tribe of Judah, or you possess the ability as one from the tribe of Judah. So this is what the 531 means. That is what kicked off this whole playlist. You guys, all of us, we are all learning and receiving this manna, this information that we need to have our crown of understanding, which is our weapon that will be ready. We need it for Revelation 11:11, and you're going to need it to go through that door. That's the 531. That's exactly what is happening right here. All of you having dreams about the classroom. This is it. This is what it is right here. So again, you just click on these things and this will take you to the Netflix 3% explanation. Here to take you to my website. You have everything that you need on this page here. Let's go back to the martyrs point. So I had the dream about the darkness. I had the confirmation through the letter lines about the darkness. I had the confirmation through the Google Doodle about the darkness. I had the confirmation from the Bible about the darkness. Okay, so this darkness is coming. Just in, darkness is coming. I'm sure you guys already knew that. All of us are having dreams about the darkness. I had dreams about the storm coming. It was 2009 when Obama became president. So I've been waiting a long time for this darkness to come. It's coming. We know. All right, surprise. Now, this is the part some of us knew, some of us don't want to think about. The TV show Humans. This is the nail in the coffin. This is how I knew what the message was saying. Okay, guys, so I've talked about Humans, the TV show. I think I'm going to stop here, and next week I'm going to wrap up the confirmation about the martyrs using the TV show Humans. But I just want to tell you right now, this is real hard. This is hard. So you are going to need to be caught up on this playlist. You're going to need to be prayed up. You're going to need your spiritual practice. You're going to be ready. You're going to have to be spiritually ready to receive this message about the martyrs. This is hardcore, all right? And it's important, very important, that you do not let Satan steal your joy. And that is the firefly message that goes along with the martyr message. But this, just to end, this TV show, Humans, I was watching it the same night I told you guys I was dealing with questioning whether I'm going to be martyred. And this is the synth compound. Now, synths are robots that look like humans, artificially intelligent, and they became conscious. And they are in a compound because humans don't accept them. They showed this sign, 153. So I've told you how these TV shows, they always turn things upside down. So in this TV show, the synths are us, Israel. It's symbolic. But they make the good guy the bad guy, the bad guy the good guy. So the bad guy, who are actually the robots, they are saying that it's us, Israel. Okay, so when you look at this TV show, you have to symbolically think of the robots as us. And then you start to understand the codes here. and how they twist the mind. Because what it is that they want the world to accept the robots. So they're making everything sympathy for the robots, but they're making the identity of them us, to show what is going to happen to us. Okay. 153 right here. So this gives you the time to watch the TV show, or at least watch the last episode. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it seems to be the season finale. I'm not sure. At least watch that and you'll be ready for this message, all right, for next week. So I pray that you guys are well. I hope it was an important video, but I don't know if it was very entertaining. But I hope that it was edifying for you. And I thank you, Yahushua Hamashiach, for this information and the confirmation. And thank you for feeding us and preparing us for these things that are to come. Holy Father, I pray that you continue to give us everything that we need to grow and to mature and to become this spiritually mature 153 triangle of Israel that you would want us to be, Holy Father. And I pray that your will is done on earth as it is in heaven. I pray that you bind any spirits, any demonic spirits that would in any way try to hinder us or to cause us to stumble, Holy Father. I bind it in Yahushua Hamashiach's holy name and cast it out. And I pray that we are free and that we are strong and courageous and ready to receive your messages and your wisdom, and that we grow and that we come together and that we are victorious in your holy name, Holy Father, in your name, for your glory and your honor. Thank you. Mwah. Holy is Christ. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom.